do that. Councillors, just remember about microphones to please speak. Councillors and officers, a warm welcome, and to our gallery. First time for a long time, so good to see people in the gallery again, but also a very warm welcome to those joining us online through Facebook or through social media. A warm welcome to the April Ordinary Meeting of Council. Could I ask you all please to be upstanding for the acknowledgement of country and the council prayer. I would like to acknowledge that we are meeting on the country of the Dja Wurrung. We acknowledge the traditional owners of the area we are on and their forebears. We acknowledge their living culture and their unique role in the life of this region. Almighty God, we ask you to be present in this council. Direct and guide our deliberations. We ask you to grant us wisdom and sensitivity as we deal with the business of our Shire. May each decision that we make advance the well-being of all our residents. This we pray. Amen. Councillors, we have an agenda before us. Having welcomed everyone, and again a special welcome, it's very good to have a live gallery once more. I don't think we have an apologies. I think we're a full house. We have no leave of absence. Disclosures of conflicts of interest, councillors. Any conflicts of interest to disclose? If not, the confirmation of the minutes of the previous council meeting held in March. Councillors, I do want to just propose one amendment in the unconfirmed minutes. I did acknowledge the passing of Fred Treble OAM, and the minutes record that as a past councillor and mayor. I think we need to add the words for the city of Maryborough, given that we are now another council. Fred was a past councillor and mayor of the city of Maryborough. So, councillors, I would propose in the minutes that we add those words with your agreement to do so. Is there any objection to that addition or any other concerns about the minutes? If not, I'll declare those minutes with that amendment confirmed. We have no minutes from committees and petitions, so let's move straight to officers' reports. Item 8.1, the Carisbrook Recreation Reserve upgrades. Any questions, councillors, of the report of the officers? If not, councillors seeking a motion in relation to that report. Thank you, Councillor de Villiers. A seconder? Councillor Sproul. Councillor de Villiers, your motion.
I would like to move the motion that Council endorses the Carisbrook Recreation Reserve Master Plan, as well as the Carisbrook Recreation Reserve floor plans and the Bowls Club Pavilion Plan, which had to be changed due to some structural discoveries they made.
Okay, I'll just seek a second. So you're happy to second that, Councillor Sproul?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, so talking to the motion.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I can just continue. The Carisbrook Reserve is an amazing project and is going to contribute to making Carisbrook one of the sporting hubs in the Shire. Approximately $4 million is going to be spent to update and upgrade the Carisbrook Reserve, turning it into a state-of-the-art sporting facility.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Sproul.
I'd just like to add, so this was mainly because they found an unidentified sewer that I think they ran under the bowling green, so they had to change it a little bit to avoid some potential costs and things involved later on down the track for that. So, all very good. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Sproul. Any other councillors? If not, I'll put the motion as presented by Councillor de Villiers, who endorsed the master plan and the relevant ancillary plans. All those in favour? Those against? The motion is carried. Item 8.2, Maryborough Aerodrome. I should note in that we received and council considered an email from John Kyden with some issues that he raised that was considered, received by council this morning and considered in the briefing session earlier this afternoon. First of all, any questions at all from councillors, the officers? If not, councillors seeking a motion.
Also move.
Thank you, Councillor Lavella. And your motion is?
The purpose of this report is for council to consider recommendations to undertake planning for the future of the aerodrome to realise the economic and community benefits of this important local asset and transitioning the Maryborough Aerodrome lease to new terms and conditions to meet the requirements of the Crown Land Reserve Act 1978.
Thank you very much, Councillor Lavella. A second to that motion. Thank you, Councillor Lovett. Councillor Lavella, talking to the motion.
Well, I'm absolutely thrilled with the work the officers have done in regards to this issue. I suspect it was very challenging and extremely arduous. After 10 years, it's time now for us to realise the full potential of this incredible asset we have here in Central Goldfields Shire. A business plan is being recognised that would be a benefit, and we have, my understanding, that there's recommended provision in the budget of 30,000 for the 21-22 budget to follow through on a business plan, followed by another 40,000 in 22-23 recommended for the review of the master plan. Recommended only. The opportunities are boundless in regards to the economic development of this town, commercially, economically, visitation, and also for tourism. The recommendation by the officers are approve the allocation of $30,000 in the 21-22 budget for the development of a business plan for the Maryborough Aerodrome. The next one, number 2, adopt the terms of reference from Maryborough Aerodrome task force in attachment 1. Now, I would just like to change some wording in attachment 1, or add to, not change, add to. Under membership, number 3, the task force is to be chaired by an independent community member and comprise of up to 6 community members, and I would like to add stakeholders and all stakeholders, with one more of the following capabilities, and they're all listed in the terms of reference, which I think you have in hand. The other recommendation is to commence. Yes.
It's a point of order.
Yeah.
If we changed that part of the recommendation, should there be another second in there?
I was certainly going to, before Councillor Bell's introduced the change of the motion in talking to it. I was certainly going to then seek afterwards whether Councillor Lovett was prepared to, in second, include that amendment. I mean, okay. Yeah, as a point of order, you're right, that would normally be included. It should be in the motion, but Councillor Bell's including it here, but I certainly was going to pick it up.
So would you like me to continue, or would you like the seconder now?
Look, well, I think, yeah, well, we'll take a second since it's been raised a point of order, because Councillor Murphy is correct. Councillor Lovett, are you prepared to accept in the second that addition of those words?
I will accept that, because I think it's a clear clarification of the original motion.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thank you for that.
Number 3, commence an expression of interest process for membership of the Maryborough Aerodrome Task Force. Approve the waiving, number 4, approve the waiving of rates on aerodrome leases for the Aero Club and Maryborough Ambulance Transfer First Station on the basis that they provide services at the aerodrome that are accessible to and for the benefit of the community in accordance with Section 169 of the Local Government Act 1989, and confirm that current leases are transitioned to 12 leases, DLWP, leases on current rents and lease terms, and approve that new leases be negotiated on terms of 7 + 7 + 7 years, with rent set at $3.50 per square metre plus CPI for the first term of 7 years, and market rent reviews for subsequent terms.
Thank you, councillor Lavella. Councillor Lovett.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. First of all, I echo the comments made by councillor Lavella. I'm reminded that the first resolution of the newly elected council in December 2020 was to confirm the importance of the Maryborough Aerodrome as an important community asset. We have worked with stakeholders to arrive at a mutually satisfactory resolution to the existing leases that have caused ongoing problems for a number of years. Following much consultation, discussion and debate, I believe this motion is a win for all parties. In my mind, the council offer is generous and gives surety for the next 7 years with further options to the current stakeholders. With the addition of the development of a new business plan and proposed changes to the master plan as a priority for council, this should lead to a defined and exciting future for this underutilised community asset. Thanks, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, councillor Lovett. Other councillors? I would just like to say, to echo the comments made by both councillors. This was a priority, as Councillor Lovett said. I do want to acknowledge too that I think, Councillor Lovett, you indicated during the campaign this was going to be a priority for you. You actually sought to move, and the council accepted this as urgent business in order that we could meet with the stakeholders before Christmas, which we did, which was very valuable. I know all councillors, been a team effort. Councillor Lavella, I know you've been involved in this.
I knew nothing about it before I was elected, and I was determined to find out everything.
I think your comments were, as a Maryborough girl, just give you a week or so to come up to scratch. So you've certainly been involved. Look, I think it's been a team effort. I also want to acknowledge the work of the CEO in this. There's been a lot of work that needed to be done behind the scenes, and the CEO and the general manager, infrastructure. This has been a team effort all around. But can I also acknowledge the president of the Aero Club, Rod Brown, and the team there, because there have been a lot of conversations and meetings to try and progress this. I know, because I was part of it, and I really do want to acknowledge this. This was a team effort between partnership between community and the organisation, between council, between councillors and staff. We got to this point. It was a priority. We've made it a priority. We've come to a very good landing spot for an aerodrome. So if not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? The motion is carried. Thank you, councillors. 8.3, Pyrenees Highway, Carisbrook Culvert Construction Contract number G1473221. Are there any, and I should acknowledge too correspondence from the ratepayers group, which was considered, email came in today, that was also considered earlier by council. And so any questions of the officers, councillors? If not, I seek a motion. Perhaps if you can then indicate if there is a motion, what that motion is before we start the debate. Is there a motion? Thank you, Councillor de Villiers, and your motion is?
That the purpose of this report is to announce the awarding of the construction of the culverts under the Pyrenees Highway in Carisbrook to Leach Earth Moving and Contracting, concluding the third stage of the levee constructions in Carisbrook.
And you're also supporting that the CEO be authorised to affix the common seal.
Yeah.
to that. Is there a second to that motion? Councillor Sproul. Thank you. Councillor De Villiers, talking to the motion, please.
I am aware that there are strong and differing opinions within the Carisbrook community regarding the number of culverts underneath the Pyrenees Highway. It is important to note that both the council and Intura used raw data supplied by the North Central Catchment Authority. Council is elected to continue and follow the recommendation of the experts in Intura. I advocated repeatedly to council, reflecting the views of many in the community. The majority view of the council prevailed and the present tender was accepted. I would also like to have it minuted that I want to register my concern to changes made by including and praising Pleasant Street to act as part of the levy system. I want to register the concerns of residents that this change has put them at risk of flooding that they have not experienced before.
Councillor De Villiers, you're talking to the motion. We don't record particular views within that. We certainly, the gallery will note those.
Yep, I would like it minuted.
Well, the minute will actually include that you've moved the motion.
No.
But I'm happy to note that you put those views to the gallery and to your colleagues in council, but it's not part of council's process to
My
minute
apologies, I'm
discussion.
still
That's
new at
okay.
this.
So your point is that you want those views, in moving the motion, you've shared those views with your colleagues and with the gallery.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Sproul.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, so this obviously, yes, this has been a very contentious issue with varying different views. I've been lucky enough to meet and speak to a lot of the people involved with this, and thank you them very much for their time. I think some of it does come, some of the confusion and the argument comes around some different interpretations of figures and things like that. So some of the figures that I've been presented, we're working around 3,000 to 4,000 megalitres of water of inland flow. Going through some more reports and speaking to other people, the data actually shows that at the highest peak of flow is just 234 megalitres at the 6 hour mark, which is a big discrepancy. So in comparison to the actual culvert flow rates of the 2 by 1.2 metre by 1.2 metre culverts, which is 535 megalitres a day. So over 6 hours, if you multiply that by 2, you get over your 12 hours, which is your day, you're still underneath that 535 megalitres. So I think there's still maybe some more discussions and maybe some better clarity in around those figures, which I'll ensure that we can kind of communicate with the public to make sure they get that and work towards getting better community, I suppose, appreciation and appreciation is not the right word, acceptance. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sproul. Other councillors? Not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? The motion is carried. 8.4, we're on contracts now again. Contract number G1472-21, Gilly Street, Maryborough Road construction between Leighton Road and Sutton Road. Any questions, councillors? If not, I seek a motion. Who's prepared to move a motion in relation to Gilly Street? Oh, thank you very much, Councillor Murphy. And Councillor Vella seconded. Councillor Murphy, you're moving the officer's recommendation, are you?
Yes. So the motion is that we award the Gilly Street as a road reconstruction there contract to Doran Earth Moving for $535,526.20, inclusive GST. So we're going to authorise the Chief Executive to sign and fix the common seal for the contract. and in this road construction.
And councillor Vella, you're.
Nothing to add.
Nothing to add. You want to talk to the motion at all?
I'm just, yeah, I'll talk to the motion, Mr. Mayor. Just happy that Doran Earth Moving, local company, has won the project for all the right ways, and we'll just keep moving on up the road because we're already in one part of Gilly Street now, and we'll just keep moving on up and end up probably out the back near the near Cranberry's Farm, I'd say, somewhere eventually, at the end of Gilly Street, is it? Yeah, somewhere along the line. But anyway, I just think it's great that Doran's got the job. It's a good thing to do.
Thank you, councillor Murphy. Sure you've got nothing to add?
No, I don't. That is local. Is Doran local?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Definitely. Any other councillors? Not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, those against, the motion is carried. 8.5, we'll change direction a bit now from contracts. 8.5, the communication and engagement strategy. Councillors, any questions? If not, is councillor councillor prepared to move a motion? Thank you, councillor Long, and your motion being?
I would like to move a motion to adopt the recommendation that council adopts the updated communication and engagement strategy 2021-2022, adopts the Shaping Central Goldfields engagement plan 2021, and disband the community voice panel and write to panel members thanking them for their contribution to council policy and strategy development.
Thank you, councillor Long. A seconder to that? Councillor Murphy, thank you. Councillor Long, talking to the motion, please.
Thank you, through the Mayor. I'm happy to move this recommendation. I think it's fair to say that a lot of work has gone into preparing these two excellent documents by council staff. They are easy to read and visually appealing. The updated communication and engagement strategy establishes shared expectations for communications and engagement and features a detailed action plan for how we will further develop, improve and evaluate our activities moving forward. The Shaping Central Goldfields project seeks to help the Shire regain its vibrancy and sense of place. This project will engage representative groups from the community with an emphasis on groups that are less visible in the Shire, such as our primary producers. The Shaping Central Goldfields project consists of 4 overarching phases, including community activation, strategic priorities, public exhibition, and foundations for the future. The engagement plan has been developed with councillors and the executive management team, and I urge everyone to get involved in the activation workshops that are planned for the near future. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, councillor Long. Councillor Murphy.
I think I've said this before somewhere over the last 5 or 6 months that it's up to our community to get involved. Like Councillor Long said, we've got to get involved. So it's really important to get involved, not to sit on your hands, not thinking someone else will do it. Become one of those individuals and groups that go, well, we want to put into our community. So it's important. We need more than the half a dozen people. So we need to get a lot of people involved. So I think it's at the end of the day that this has got to go forward, and it's all going to happen. But we have to get the community's input, not just our input. And through all the butcher paper that's been spread around this office for the last X months, the community now can have their own butcher paper time and enjoy that time as well.
And indeed, Councillor Murphy, I'm sure that you and Councillor Lovett will be there to give out the butcher's paper to make first entries. Thank you. Other councillors talking to us.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor. So I'd just like to highlight, so there will be some focus groups that we'll have discussions with later on down the track. So like volunteers, Asian community, tourism operators, business community, climate change advocates, farmers, people who are differently abled, young people, LGBTQIA+ community, and the Dja Dja Wurrung Indigenous people. So, you know, we want to try to identify those kind of key groups that kind of shape our community. So if anyone has any, is there any other ideas of groups that that potentially might be on the list that we may have overseen, to please reach out to us and make sure that we capture that data so we can make sure we include those people in our conversations.
Thank you, Councillor Sproul. Other councillors? Councillor Lavella?
Now, I just want to make comment. The deliberative consultation process comes out of the 2020 Local Government Act, and this means that the community now decides what they want and how they want to shape their community into the future, not the other way around, which has been the past. But in order for us to do that, we need the community to commit to help us shape. They need to tell us what they need, what they want, how they'd like to see their future. It is mandatory that we do this process this way, through the community consultation, then back to put in or contribute to our council plan going forward.
Thank you, Councillor Lavella. Councillor Williams, anything to add? You're about the only one left. All right. Look, if I can just say, I think councillors have said it all. This is going to be a massive undertaking, but with huge benefits. The new Act, as Councillor Lavella said, require us to go through this deliberative engagement, which in essence really means that it has to be meaningful. It has to have a point of real engagement, real empowerment, real sharing, real creation of opportunity, of motivation. So this is a huge task, and there's several bits to it, looking at the community plans, and then of course moving on to the council plan. A huge job for our communications team, and I really want to acknowledge the work of our community engagement manager. Under the Act, the Mayor has a key role in this, and I've been having lots of meetings with Kylie, and just pay full tribute to the work of the whole communications team and the staff have played in this, because this will be very much a partnership between elected councillors, the staff and the community at the end of the day. But the importance of this and developing a robust council plan that reflects, as you said, Councillor Lavella, what the community actually wants is all important and will dominate a lot of our work this year. With that, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, those against, the motion is carried. Let's then move to 8.6, the draft councillor expense and support policy for councillors and members of delegated committees. Policy on that. Any questions? If not, seeking a motion, councillors. Thank you, Councillor Lavella. And your motion is?
Well, the purpose of this is just to ensure that there's certainly clear boundaries and boundaries for councillors to understand what the expense and what expenses they can incur under the Local Government Act 2020. It gives us clarification, it gives the community clarification on what we are doing in regards to the spending that individual councillors take out. There has been a lot of issues in the past where councillors have been a bit naughty and it was very difficult to really pin them down, but now they're starting to recognise that fraud is not a local government issue that we want to continue to recognise, especially with the 2020 Act.
Councillor Lavella, just to be clear,
sorry,
just in terms of your motion, that you are actually recommending that council adopt the
yes,
expenses
I am,
and policy.
Yes, I am.
And I'll
I
just
get carried away with this.
Passionate. I thought the councillor sitting opposite you is normally relied on for great passion. Councillor Long, are you prepared to second that motion?
Yes,
Thank you very much. So sorry, I didn't want to interrupt your flow of passion.
But that's
Please
all right. My
continue.
passion's over now. I think I've said it all.
Don't let it be my responsibility if I've called your passion, Councillor. So seriously, have I, anything more you want to add?
No, I think we've got the gist of where I was coming from, don't we, councillors?
And I hope when you talked about naughty councillors, you weren't including any Central Goldfields showing.
Definitely no Central Goldfields councillors. That was
Thank you.
more the city councils that I've recognised.
Councillor Long.
Thank you, through the mayor. So as a new councillor, I was, I wouldn't say excited to read the policy, but I was very interested in the policy because to me, it sets very clear guidelines on how to claim for expenses. And yeah, it's certainly something that I'll be printing off and having close by, just so I can absolutely be certain that if I claim something, it's the right thing to do. So thank you.
Thank you. Other councillors? Councillor Murphy?
I just want to clarify, that means I can't claim that bottle of Grange?
No,
Is that right?
but you can claim something under $50.
That's on the next policy. Don't rush, the passion is really coming through now. We're on the next stuff. So anything more in relation to the expenses support policy for councillors and members of delegated committees? If not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, those against, the motion is carried. So now moving to one that obviously Councillor Murphy's excited about, and that is the draft amended gifts, benefits and hospitality policy for councillors. Any questions on that? If not, seeking a motion.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. And your motion is to adopt the gifts, benefits and policy as presented. Is it, Councillor Sprout?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. As a seconder, thank you, Councillor Lava. Councillor Sprout, talk to the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is another one as a new councillor is a good one to read. It clarifies some of that kind of grey area, I suppose. So the main parts is it clarifies what can be accepted as a gift and what can't be. Also specifies that there's a dollar value of $50. So that bottle of Grange, unfortunately, you have to declare if that was to be the case. Yeah, so it's just a very comprehensive policy that sets the guidelines for councillors. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sprout. Councillor Lava.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Many people would read this policy and say, surely it's common sense. Well, yes, it is. But as Councillor Lavella said, other people in other places haven't acted with common sense and have put their hand out for certain gifts and that can be construed as a bribe. With the rewriting of the Local Government Act in 2020, a lot of things have become necessary to be far more prescriptive, and this is one of them. And I actually welcome it because it gives the ground rules for councillors to operate under. And if we're in any doubt when we're attending in our official role as a councillor, and we are offered or given a gift, this lays down the ground rules on what we should declare and what we shouldn't. So I think it's a welcome addition.
Thank you, Councillor Lovett. Any other councillors? Councillor Murphy's gone quiet now. The Grange is reading all that. All right, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, those against, the motion is carried. Item 8.8, advocacy on key issues for the Central Goldfields Shire following a recent visit from the Minister for Local Government. Thank you, Councillor Long. You're moving that council note the letter sent to the Minister.
Yep, I would like to move the recommendation that council note the advocacy undertaken on behalf of the Central Goldfields Shire community at the recent meeting with the Minister for Local Government and in the letter from the Mayor to the Minister in attachment 1.
Thank you very much, Councillor Long. The seconder? Councillor Murphy. Thank you, Councillor Murphy. Councillor Long, talking to the motion.
Thank you, through the Mayor. I'm happy to move this recommendation for council to note the advocacy. It's encouraging to see that the Minister for Local Government was able to recently meet with the Mayor and CEO in person as part of a range of advocacy activities that the council undertakes. I think it's important for council to play a crucial role in advocating to state and federal governments on various issues. It highlights projects and programs that are important to the Central Goldfields Shire community and the economy. I won't go through the list of items discussed, but as you can see in the agenda, they're varied and very comprehensive. So well done, Mayor and CEO. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Murphy.
I'd just like to talk about social housing, which is one of the main things that I'm on about a bit in the advocacy for social housing, especially at Denali and Talbot, so we can, over the next few years, we go forward with that. Also, I'd like to the advocacy on planning and building staff which are very hard to find, and we need to push the government that and a lot of councils are in our position, they just can't find them, and especially statutory planners, they just can't get them, and if they get them, they are so outpriced on, and it's become a situation is that a lot of people we can't afford to have certain people here. We can't get them in the first place, but they're not out there. So we have to really work hard at getting the building inspector and getting the statutory planner and getting the statutory building person. It's very difficult, and we have to get that across to the community. It's the same way, but you're trying as hard as you can to find them, but then you got to find the money, and then the money is so much better in the city, and then so much better if they fly in, fly out stuff as well. So it is a bit of an issue. So we need to really push the government on this issue about getting more people trained. How we get them trained? Can we train people in our own community? Or can we get subsidies and funding for that as well? It's a bit close to me, this building and planning situation, and we have to make it right, but it is a hard gig. So that's a good advocacy.
Thank you, Councillor Murphy. Other councillors? If I can just comment on that. Certainly, Councillor Murphy, the Minister was very receptive about the problems of staffing, and we discussed those in some depth, and he's well aware of it. And I think that the initiative that the government really recently committed to in relation to the employment of women as and the training and employment as municipal building surveyors, I think we'll see more of that sort of thing, and hopefully even that program. So there's awareness of that and a range of other issues. Social housing is something that both the Minister and the Minister for Regional Development and the CEO and I met with her. Minister Thomas, is again a major issue. What we need to do is just find out how we unpack that social housing thing. It's also come up in the regional mayors and CEOs forum. So we know that it's an issue of priority for the government. What we need to do is just find out how we can access that. And certainly hearing that the Denali project is ready to go, and there's a push in Talbot too. So it's certainly an issue. Well, I think one of the things about advocacy with the rate capping biting in the way it is in its 5th year, the importance of advocacy for small rural councils is all the greater. It really is. And so this really is just the beginning of a whole lot of follow-up action we need to do with state government. We've also met, as council knows, we've met with our federal member and Webster MP, and we'll be following up with them with a number of ministers. So advocacy is absolutely essential part, and this is really just the start of a whole lot of work that's already been going on and will continue. With that, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, those against, the motion is carried. 8.9, the March financial report. Are there any questions in relation to the March financial report? If not, seeking a motion. Thank you, Councillor Murphy. And your motion is?
That received and notes the attached financial report for the period to the 31st of March. Council approves and adopts the financial forecast, including the operating result of 1.635 million and a capital works program of 6.8 million to the 30th of June.
Thank you very much, Councillor Murphy. A seconder to that, Councillor de Villiers. Councillor Murphy talking to the motion.
I've talked to this for the last, I think this is the third time now. And each time I look at the figures and look at the summaries and look at where we are, I'm pretty impressed what it is. The balance sheet remains a strong financial position and with a cash and cash equivalent balance of 16 million and is forecast to remain in that strong way. And this is happening in the last three we've done. It keeps happening. So nothing. It's still going well. Still going strong. And I'm being a financial person and being in business, and I find it very uplifting that we're able to keep this at this level. I just need to just want to talk about where we're. There we go. So this is expenditure year to date is 752k ahead of budget. However, through review of the forecast and cost has identified several savings. So savings has been energy breakthrough, obviously. So that's 700, but we're going okay. We're good. I'm not going to be happy if we're running even or even a little bit over. So I must congratulate the team and everyone that's around us and keeping everyone up to date and can let their nose to the grindstone. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Murphy. Councillor de Villiers.
Nothing to add, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor de Villiers. Any other councillors? If not, I'll put the motion as proposed. All those in favour, all those against, the motion is carried. Item 8.10, the proposed budget for 2021-2022. Easy to say when you think of all these weeks of work, just rolls off the tongue. Any questions, first of all, councillors? If not, I seek a motion in relation to the proposed budget. Thank you, Councillor Lovett. You're moving the officer's recommendation.
I would like to move that council endorse the proposed budget for 2021-2022 and commence the community consultation process on the budget.
Thank you, Councillor Lovett. A seconder to that, Councillor Murphy. Councillor Lovett, talking to the motion, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In my opinion, this is one of the most important, if not the most important task that council undertakes, the budget. The reality of the situation is that we are a small rural council with very many calls on a very tight budget. And it is our mandated task to come up with a budget that's both fiscally responsible and acceptable to the community. We have been through the figures with a fine-tooth comb and come up with this proposed budget. But I stress that the motion we're endorsing tonight is that it is a proposed budget only, and now we commence a community consultation process. Already tonight we've heard both Councillor Murphy and Councillor Lavella on previous motions make a plea to the community to get involved in this process, and I endorse those pleas. We now put the budget out for public consultation. I stress that this is not the final budget, this is a proposed budget, and it is up to the community to go through it and see if they agree with it, or if they think we're off the mark in some areas, to make submissions to council before we vote on the final budget. So this is extremely important that all members of the community get involved in the process from this time on. And they have up until the 4th of June to get their comments or proposals in. I also have to say that council, in preparation of this proposed budget, have looked closely at the rating strategy and the differential rates. In Central Goldfields Shire, we have 8 differential rates, and there has been a lot of discussion at the council table about the pros or cons of that. And the decision council have made at this stage is that for this budget 2021-2022, that the differential rates will not change. So my final comment, my final plea to our community is get involved in the budget process from this point on, and you have until the 4th of June, and your views will be listened to and will be taken into account. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Lovett. Councillor Murphy.
I can just say I have to concur. Councillor Lovett said it all, so thank you, Councillor Lovett.
Other councillors?
I just want to
Councillor
say,
Lovett.
Councillor Lovett said it all. We have had a huge and long and a robust conversation in regards to the budget. And again, I plead that the community take part in the consultation process. We need you to take that part. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bella. Councillor.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, if I could just add, one of the things that struck me as we've been going through our process, and I think a lot of our community members don't understand, as I said, we're a small rural council with very tight figures. Central Goldfields Shire Council offers some hundreds of services to our community. And I mean some hundreds of services to our community that range across the whole spectrum: roads, potholes, infrastructure, childcare. It is home help. It is quite staggering, the services that we supply. And I don't think a lot of the community members are aware of that fact. And I think council should be very proud of the services they give. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Lovett. Other councillors? I just wanted to make 2 comments on or 2 old sayings that really do resonate. One of those, talk is cheap, and the other one, put your money where your mouth is. Both of them very much relate to the budget. They're both very true. We can talk, and we can talk with the community about what we want to do, what we can do. They can talk about what they'd like to see. If we don't have the budget to do those things, we can't do them. Most of them depend in some way on budget, whether they're services, Councillor Lovett was saying, the huge variety of services and array of services we provide, or actual projects. We need that budget to do that. And so, yes, it is. You know, if we talk these things, we have to put our money where we are talking, where our mouth is. And so this is the opportunity for the community to say, look, we are passionate about this, we're passionate about that. We think you've got it wrong. We spend a lot of time on it, but this is genuinely open for community input. And the rest of the process of shaping the goldfields work that we're doing will be influenced, in a sense, certainly for this coming year, by the budget that we set. So absolutely, as you said, Councillor Lovett, it is the need to get involved, because this makes a real difference. With that, if there are no other questions, I'll put the motion that we proceed forward with the draft budget for community consultation. All those in favour, those against, the motion is carried. That brings to the end the officers' report listed under that section. I'll come to 13.1 in a moment. There are no other. There's no documents for sealing, notices of motion. Urgent business, councillors. Other business, councillors. Councillor Sprout.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Last Thursday, the 22nd of April, was the 1-year anniversary of the tragic accident on the Eastern Freeway, which saw four police officers killed whilst on duty. This was the worst incident involving the death of officers in Victoria's police history. no doubt affected all members of Victoria Police. I'd like to acknowledge the impact this may have had on our very own members here in the Shire. I would like to take this opportunity to give thanks to Victoria Police members who served our community and who are often exposed to serious risk of harm in their duties. They do a difficult job that often goes unawarded. I would also like to mention that tomorrow, the 28th, is International Workers' Memorial Day. This is a day to remember workers who have lost their lives at work. So far this year, 29 people have lost their lives whilst at work. Transport, construction, warehousing and farming are generally overrepresented in this area. And these are all industries that we have in our Shire. Everyone plays a part in workplace safety and everyone deserves a safe workplace. In light of that, I would like to acknowledge and congratulate SONAC in achieving 2 years without a lost time injury. As someone that works in an industrial environment, this is something that isn't easily achieved without dedication.
Thank you, Councillor Sproul. And indeed, Councillor Long, as the Ward Councillor, and I were able to meet with Simon Cox, the Managing Director of SONAC, and join in a celebratory lunch and with the team, and it's a very, very special achievement again. Thank you. Any other items of other business councillors? If not, move to 13.1 confidential business. Now, this comes in 2 parts. There will be a part that we will deal with specifics of the of a report that under our policy that's been undertaken, and we'll deal with that in camera, but under the provisions of the Local Government Act because it relates to an individual, our CEO. But we do need to acknowledge the process that took place in keeping with our policy on CEO employment matters. We've got an officer's report that deals with that, and it's important that that process and the compliance with that process be a matter that's dealt with in open council, so the community can be assured that the process is as presented. So, councillors, that the process is been outlined in the officer's report with a note that we note that the review has been conducted by the CEO Employment Matters Advisory Committee, which would comprise myself, Councillor Lovett and Councillor Lavella, in accordance with the CEO Employment Matters Advisory Committee policy. So just seek a motion to that effect. Councillor Lavella, so you're supporting that we note that process. And a second to Councillor Lovett. Thank you as the 2 members with me on that panel. Councillor Lavella, any talk to the motion?
Just briefly, this has been a seamless process. I've been on a number of CEO performance review committees in the past, and I'm extremely pleased thus far how it's been conducted with the independent Chris Eddy, who's former CEO and I think is ELG Pro at this point in time. I've got it highlighted here. He's, yes.
Just recently retired.
Recently retired, that's correct, yes. Yes, so thank you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Councillor Bell. Councillor Lovett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I actually consider myself to be very lucky to have been appointed to this committee. I personally found the process to be both educational and rewarding. The fact that 3 local councillors, we had an independent chair, and I found it extremely educational that Chris Eddy, who is highly respected within local government and beyond, brought a sensitivity to the role. And as I said, I consider myself very lucky to have sat in this committee. I think I learned a lot, so I found it extremely rewarding.
Thank you, Councillor Lovett. Any other councillors wanting to talk to that? Look, I just want to endorse comments from both councillors. I've known Chris going back a long while and worked with him on different things. I mean, I think he led this with a great deal of experience and wisdom. And I think we all found it an incredibly valuable process. And initially, I must admit, I thought, oh, perhaps something we've done in the past ourselves, we could do this. I absolutely agree. Having gone through this, I'm a convert now that this process is a good process, and it was really worthwhile. I'll put the motion that we note that the review is being conducted in keeping with our policy. All those in favour, those against, the motion is carried. Now, with that, I'll seek a motion that this, just to say to the gallery, this concludes all the other business. There is the remaining part of the CEO performance review issue that will be dealt with in camera. Really, there's no point bringing you back later to close the meeting. So effectively, I can't formally close the meeting now because there is that item to deal with. But what I'll do is really thank you for your attendance, and it is good, and thank those online for your attendance virtually. And yet again, it's good to have a gallery back again. With that, councillors, I'll seek a motion to adjourn for 5 minutes and go into camera. Thank you, Councillor Lavella. Seconded Councillor Murphy. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, those against, the motion is carried. Council will now adjourn for 5 minutes and then resume in camera. Thank you.